known by its map designation as Area 51.
We're now learning Area 51,
known as Area 51.
Thank you for
Near
clearing that
Area
up.
51.
Thank you.
Known as Area 51.
Because Area 51 is very important.
They called him Jimmy, and everybody wanted to be his friend.
What's good? What's good? Welcome here to Area 51 here with Jimmy James, telling you the truth about boxing for everybody who likes boxing. You're going to like this channel. Now, if you like bullshit like, racial shit, and you're going to go by racial boxing, which is nowadays prevalent, or you're going to go by, I don't know, you're from a different country and you want to see, your fighter win or whatever, it's probably not going to be a good place to subscribe here. So I recommend you not to subscribe here. Go ahead and do what you got to do. But don't blame me for my commentary, because I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible when it comes down to boxing. I just don't care about other things, okay? So subscribe here if you like my channel. Here in Golden Era, we speak facts. We like to speak about boxing, and we just want to make sure that boxing is at the state that it should be, forgetting all this garbage about undefeated records and fighters who just don't want to risk losing their zeros. I mean, aren't you tired of this crap, of this bullshit? I mean, are you tired of it? I am. So I'm going to call out all these boxers that don't want to risk, and it's just ridiculous to me. So anyway, I want to speak about this because Lomachenko is going to have this fight against Jermaine Ortiz. It's actually a decent fight. In my opinion, I felt like Vasyl Lomachenko did a strategic move in order not to fight Devin Haney right away. And one of the reasons why is because I believe that Devin Haney wanted to fight, and he actually said he wanted to fight in a podcast, as Father Bill Haney spoke to Calvin Ford and said that you should just force your mandatory with Gervonta Davis, WBA, and just go ahead and fight Devin Haney. But Gervonta Davis didn't want to do it. So that put Gervonta Davis in a position that I always thought he was. He's just a fucking duck. Okay, he's a poodle. He doesn't want to fight certain fighters. He just wants to fight. And if you look at his resume, to me, it's just not that good. Okay. He's a strong puncher, but Mike Tyson was also a strong puncher, and then when his level of opposition started to grow stronger, his punching power went away. Okay, so I wasn't surprised that Gervonta Davis didn't want to fight Devin Haney, because I've seen this story before play out. Now, he tried to fight Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia is a chicken, and he's another poodle. And he basically was saying that, yeah, I'll fight Devin Haney, in the future. And now we're looking at 140, et cetera, et cetera. But to be honest with you, I'm not sure they will fight Devin Haney at 140, but we'll see. But Ryan Garcia, same thing. He just didn't want the fight. So Devin Haney had to take this rematch because he had a rematch clause with George Kambosos, and he had to fight him. And after he fought George Kambosos, or when the fight was announced, Vasyl Lomachenko came from retirement, and he said that he wanted to go ahead and box again, which was a very strange thing to do, because I'm thinking, like, why would you want to go now from retirement, now that Haney has already officially decided to get this rematch clause done? Why not before? Why not do that? And it just seemed like Vasyl Lomachenko was just waiting for Devin Haney to have an opponent. Now, when he came from retirement just recently, he took Jermaine Ortiz as his next fight, and it's not a bad fight, Jermaine Ortiz. I think Jermaine Ortiz is a boxer that has a lot of heart. He fought Joseph Adorno. I think that was a hard fight because Joseph Adorno has power. He was undefeated. And then he fought Jermaine Herring too, and I think that was a good fight. But Jermaine Herring is already Jermaine Herring is on his way out, but he did a good job. I believe he did a good job in that fight, and now he's fighting Vasyl Lomachenko. Now, I like Jermaine Ortiz. I do wish that he wins. I'm gonna always back any American fighter to win any other sort of fighter. I don't care where they're from. We have the best boxing in the world, and there's no reason why I wouldn't cheer for Jermaine Ortiz. But do I believe he'll beat Vasyl Lomachenko? It's very hard. Vasyl Lomachenko is a fighter that knows how to manage Ortiz's style well. He knows how to counter Ortiz, and the only way that I see Ortiz doing this is if he plans a fight and not box. And if he plans to fight and not box, then I give him an opportunity. But I still believe Vasyl Lomachenko will probably be victorious Saturday. Now, with that said, Vasyl Lomachenko, when Devin Haney already had an opponent, said he wanted to fight Devin Haney. So now he says he wanted to fight Devin Haney. Okay. But a lot of people, and once again, I'm just going here by facts. Deontay Wilder, when he was offered the franchise belt, or the designation, because it's really a designation, it's not really a belt. That's what Mauricio Suleiman said. Deontay Wilder didn't accept that belt to duck King Kong Ortiz. But Vasyl Lomachenko did request that belt because he requested it. They didn't give it to me. He requested it. Mauricio Suleiman said that in an interview a few years back. And he could have fought Devin Haney a few years back, but he wanted to skip it. So that to me is like, okay, like that's a duck move to me. That's and I don't have Vasyl Lomachenko as a duck, to be honest with you, but with Devin Haney, I would say that's where things got a little bit weird with him, because when he was at 130, he was calling out Gervonta Davis, and Gervonta Davis didn't want to fight him. He was calling out Leo Santa Cruz and other fighters too, or Lee Shelby, and they didn't want to fight him. But for some reason or another, now that he's at 135, it seems like they want him more. But I didn't like what he did to Devin Haney, because Devin Haney wanted to fight him for the regular belt. And as soon as he was giving this franchise belt, you know, Vasyl Lomachenko, when he fought Teofimo Lopez, it's kind of like, okay, you beat Vasyl Lomachenko, Teo, but you're still not undisputed because you don't got the regular belt. So the horseshit of the WBC and everything that they've done in the boxing scene, in my opinion, has really ruined the state of boxing. That's how I see it. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's just games after games after games. And it seems like they try to favor Mexican fighters. That's just my opinion. So, once again, Vasyl Lomachenko said that he wants to be undisputed with Devin Haney. Now, I've said this in my Spanish podcast, but I want to make sure I say it here as well for my English community. If Devin Haney were to move up to 140, he has already said in a few interviews that his body is having issues with 140, okay? And moving up to 140, in my opinion, is not a bad thing, because 140 is a much more dangerous division than 135, and he's already undisputed champion, so there's nothing he has to prove. If Vasyl Lomachenko wanted to fight him, he should have not requested the franchise belt. He should have not done that, and it would have got it would have been over with immediately. But he did, and that's his fault, because he had the option, like Deontay Wilder had the option again. He said, no, I don't want it. He could have said that, but he took it. He took the devil's gold, and that's what happened. So if he wouldn't fight Devin Haney, in my opinion, and Devin Haney goes up to 140, I mean, it's justified what Devin Haney did, because he's already undisputed champion. He's already cleaned up his division. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Devin Haney will be ducking Vasyl Lomachenko, and just that's not true, because it's the opposite. It's always been the opposite with him, with Vasyl Lomachenko. Why did he have to take that fight with Nakatani or Richard Comey? He could have fought Devin Haney. Devin Haney was still open to fight him, even when he was after he lost with Teofimo Lopez. He could have still fought him. And in that fight, in my opinion, if it ever materialized, let's say Devin Haney does decide to stay, his body can, he decides to stay, for a couple more fights or one more fight against Vasyl Lomachenko, I just think that Vasyl Lomachenko won't beat Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney's style is more problematic for Vasyl Lomachenko than Teofimo, because Devin Haney has a better jab, has better angles, and I think like Bam Bam Rodriguez said, who is the new champion at 115, that Devin Haney will technically take all the angles of Vasyl Lomachenko, and I believe that. I believe Vasyl Lomachenko's style is just not suited for somebody like Devin Haney. Now, of course, I could be wrong, and Vasyl Lomachenko comes and wins, but it's highly unlikely that he would beat Devin Haney. Plus, Devin Haney is a much bigger guy, and he has proven in the last few fights that he is a fighter that can, and knows how to box very well. He's not going to risk. He's not just going to let Lomachenko go in angles. He's going to throw his jab, throw his jab, throw his jab, counter, throw his jab, throw his jab. Grab, get the clinch done, put it on Lomachenko, frustrate him, and just beat him little by little. That's the way to box against him. And I think Devin Haney will beat him. That's my opinion. A lot of people, they think that because I'm white, I got to pick Vasyl Lomachenko. That's horseshit. I believe Haney would beat him. In fact, I believe Shakur Stevenson will beat him as well. And I think Lomachenko versus Gervonta Davis is a closer fight than any of those two fights. It's just because of the style, okay? But Devin Haney moving to 140 would not be a duck move at all, because in that division is much more dangerous for Devin Haney, because one thing that Devin Haney doesn't have is power, okay? That's what he lacks. He's really good boxing, but now when you move to 140, you are facing the Richard Hitchison fights. You are reaching the Montana Loves. You're reaching and looking at fighters like Keyshawn Davis. And me personally, I don't think he will beat Gary Antoine Russell Jr. I think Gary Antoine Russell Jr. will beat the shit out of Devin Haney. It's just because of his style. I think Gary Antoine Russell will beat Devin Haney. So that's a very dangerous division. Plus, you still have Regis. You still have Arnold Barboza, who's there. You still have Chon Cepeda, who's still there. Jose Cepeda. You still have Jose Ramirez. Now you have also Ryan Garcia. I think that will be an interesting fight. And we'll see what happens if Ryan Garcia fights Gervonta Davis, and I'll speak to that in a different part. But it's a very interesting division. And me personally, and you got the other guy, Alberto Puello, who is the Dominican there too, who's done a very good job. He fought this Russian guy, and it was a really good fight. And I think he's if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me, but I think he's the WBC champion in 140, if I'm not mistaken, because Josh Taylor left vacated his belt. And I think Josh Taylor's still there. So, and then you got the other guy, Jack Catedral. So it's a very, very packed division, 140. And Devin Haney moving to 140 with those fighters is definitely not a duck move, because in my opinion, it's a deeper division. It's a deep division in comparison with, 135. So Devin Haney can lose a lot of fights there. Fights with Keyshawn Davis will be difficult fights. Fights with Gary Antoine Russell, I don't see him winning that fight. A fight with somebody like Regis Prograis is a very dangerous fight, and he will be fighting fighters who are more in his weight class, because I think Devin Haney right now is not necessarily at 135 in his weight class. That's just my opinion. But I think Vasyl Lomachenko, he had the opportunity to fight him a long time ago. And now saying that he wants to fight Devin Haney when Devin Haney already said that after the Kambosos fight, he might be moving up already. It's like, you come a little bit too late, buddy. You should have done it when you had the opportunity time ago, and you decided not to do it, and that's on you. That's on you, because the fighter, him or his team or whatever, they wanted to get the franchise belt, and there's no excuse for that. And even if he fought Devin Haney, I don't see him beating Devin Haney. I just don't see him being Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney will outskill him. That's my opinion. Okay, could be wrong though. Vasyl Lomachenko is a good fighter, but I think Devin Haney beats him. And like I said before, if Devin Haney moves to 140, that's not a duck move, because that division is dangerous. There's a lot more American fighters in that division. And by the way, Rondo Romero will be in that division as well soon. now we have Ryan Garcia there, which makes things more complicated. And eventually, I'm pretty sure we'll have Shakur Stevenson go there if boxers like Gervonta Davis or other boxers duck him, which is a big possibility that will happen. So that's my 2 cents on that. And I hope that, if he can't get that done with that fight with Devin Haney, well, he has other fights that he can do or he can push for. And we know that Shakur Stevenson is coming up in that division and he can fight him. So, that will be a great fight. Shakur Stevenson versus Vasyl Lomachenko. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on this. Give us a like here. Show us love for Golden Era. And let's keep growing our community because when it comes down to analysis, we're number 1 here. And we keep telling you the truth. Whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. Sign up and give us a like and show us some love. Peace out. And like the natives say, Hagone, which means good vibes, man. Peace out.